call this meeting to order. If we can start with our pledge. Right behind you. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll accept the motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Mr. Fraser, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Dr. Kopus?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll accept the motion to approve the approval of minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. Mr. Fraser, would you call the roll, please?
Dr. Kopus?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have public participation. I don't see anyone for public participation. Next is our superintendent's comments, and I'll turn it over to our superintendent, Ms. Andrea Blevins.
Yes, thank you, President Matthews.
Welcome.
I just have a number of announcements for the board this evening. One, it is hard to believe, but this week started fourth quarter for all of our staff and students. While we only have 25% of the year left, there are so many events, activities, testing, and focus that is going to happen between now and May. We want to thank all of our staff, parents, and students for their support and dedication to help us end this school year strong. And so it's just hard to believe we're here, but this is the longest stretch with so many things ahead with testing and different pieces. So I just wanted to remind the board of that. With those exciting events, there is something exciting happening in Hamilton every single day in one of our buildings. Just to highlight a few, this evening, students at Hamilton High who were inducted into National Honor Society were recognized and became new members. Riverview tomorrow will be participating in the grand opening of FC's Mini Pitch. That is a soccer field that has been donated on Knightsbridge for the community and for our schools. So 1 o'clock tomorrow, if you're eligible, we are available, we will be over there. And then this weekend, I would be remiss if I did not share this, but Ridgeway's Matilda, the musical, will be performing this weekend, Friday at 7 p.m., Saturday at 7, and Sunday at 2, all at Hamilton High School. So we are blessed to have a wide array of opportunities for our kids, and this is a fun time of year. You get to see it all come together. Another piece of recognition I'd like to share this evening, we received word last week that 2 of our buildings were selected as Momentum Award winners. I want to read how the state defines the Momentum Award. It is for districts and buildings that have demonstrated outstanding improvement in achievement while also continuing to show growth. So this is an award where you are doing both, achievement and growth. The Momentum Award is for districts and buildings that have improved their performance index by 3 or more points and received a value-added progress rating of 4 or more stars. Districts and buildings are not eligible for this award if they received over a rating of a 5-star. There were 194 buildings in the entire state. That's it. That's a very small number for the 600 and something districts. And Bridgeport Elementary and Crawford Woods Elementary were both named as recipients of the Momentum Award. Staff were celebrated and showered with appreciation with a kind of appreciation breakfast last week. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. I also want to just acknowledge we have had a great deal of opportunity to showcase our schools in the last few weeks. One, you heard earlier, Mr. Marjoram mention the students that performed at our 17 Strong Neighborhood Summit. It was a huge success. What was amazing to me is the number of people who stopped me in the hallways to talk about how beautiful our facilities are, or the experience that they have with a teacher or a bus driver or an administrator. And so I just want to say thank you to the board. Actually, all 4 of you were there, and I think that just shows the dedication that you give to our community. To our staff, I look out, almost all of our building principals were a part of that day in some capacity, and then many of our staff and students were there. So that's just a great way to get the word out about Hamilton City Schools. The other piece, this Tuesday, we were able to showcase all things education in the city of Hamilton through Leadership Hamilton. We actually started our day here where Mr. Holbrook talked about Hamilton City Schools. Mr. Zeri hosted us at Hamilton High, where we got a student-led tour and a performance by the In Harmonics a cappella choir featuring Mrs. Wagenfield's daughter. We went to some other institutions throughout the day, such as our partners at Baden, Butler Tech, and Miami. And then we ended our day at Ridgeway, where we were able to see what our youngest learners are doing. And I just think it's just an awesome experience to be able to be an ambassador of our school district and to showcase what we're doing. I just continue to hear amazing things. I heard someone say, man, I love how much you guys are out in the community right now. And that is going to continue as we move forward. Our community needs us to be strong just as we need to be strong for our community. The last bit I have tonight is something that I'm going to start baking into my superintendent comments. It's just an overview of what's on the consent agenda. I know that Dr. Kopis during our last meeting kind of addressed, you guys have time to review that. But I do think it's important for the people that are watching at home to hear some of the items that are going to be up. And so tonight on the consent agenda, you will see there's a number of field trips that are up for approval. Those field trips allowed, we had both a female and male wrestler qualify for the state tournament last weekend, as well as senior Mason Kelly, who on the boys bowling team qualified for the state. All three students performed very well. It's funny, all three of them are hungry for more and how to do better each time, which as a competitive athlete, I understand that completely. Also, our Inharmonics and Winter Guard groups will be traveling to compete, so you will see recommendations for each of those field trips. On our business agenda, you will see that we have an agreement. Oftentimes when there are construction projects throughout the city, we will work with the city to use some of our open fields or areas that are not in use by our students to store construction equipment. And so the agreement that you see from Mr. Kilby there is to allow that for an upcoming project.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
Not to grab you and ask you. Can we table that? Because I have a question about putting language in that we're not responsible for any damage that would occur to their vehicles, any thefts or vandalism, because it is our property, and we need some type of language in that agreement that would limit our liabilities.
Yeah, I have no problem pulling that from the agenda. The only thing is we did not amend the agenda at the start. Mr. Frazier, are we able to pull that off, or do you want them to just?
So we've already done a vote for the agenda, so we would need to do another vote, pull it off, and then we can table it for next time.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure we're protected.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I just want to make sure we're following all
Yeah,
bylaws
we can
of
do
our
that
meeting.
after superintendent comments before we get to HR. We'll pull it off
Okay.
and then table it.
On our special ed consent agenda, we do have an agreement for placement of one of our special education students who needs additional supports outside of our school district. And then the last piece on the consent agenda is an agreement with our technology provider, Ford Edge, to upgrade all of our Wi-Fi signals in our buildings. What's really nice about this process is through funding that we get from the state through a program called E-Rate, we only have to cover about $30,000 of the total price tag with going through this particular piece. I'm going to give a massive shout out to Mr. Mundy and the Ford Edge team for always making sure we have the best technology available to our staff and students. But those are the items that are up this evening on the consent agenda.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Blevins, for that update. Greatly appreciate it. And also adding the additional updates on those different agenda items. So that's super helpful. No, that was a concern, a request. So next week, you said we'll do what after that, Jeremy?
So we'll need a motion to change the agenda to pull off the land use from the consent agenda. So we'll just need a motion, a second, a vote for that. And then we will have a motion to table that item as well. And then we can go on to HR.
Okay. Okay. So I'll make a motion to take that off, take the land agreement off the agenda.
So moved.
Have a
Second that.
Mr. Frazier, if you can call the roll.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Dr. Kopis?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
We'll need
Frazier.
a motion to table.
I would move that we table that item.
Oh, second.
So second.
Mr. Frazier, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Sprague? Yes. Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Dr. Kopis?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes. Thank you. Next, we'll have Human Resources. That we accept it's recommended that the Human Resource agenda is approved as it is presented. Do I have any motion to accept that?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Frazier, you can call the roll.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Dr. Kopus?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
So President Matthews, before we move on, I do want to acknowledge we just approved our last of our new principals. And so I've asked each of our new principals, though they're familiar faces, to be here tonight to be introduced formally as the principal of their building. I will give each an opportunity. You do not have to take the opportunity to come up and to say a few words if you would like, but if not, it just allows our community to see. I think it's important from my seat. I could not be more thrilled with the leadership sitting in this room. The energy is palpable, and I am already impressed with what I'm seeing from each of you. And just know that you have our support to help you lead and to continue to impact children in so many ways. So without further ado, I'm going to start from the top, if you will, from Hamilton High School. I'd like to introduce Mr. Ty Smallwood as the next principal at Hamilton High main campus. Okay, that's fine. Mr. Smallwood, I would be shocked if you didn't have a word to say.
They told me to keep it quick.
Okay.
All right, I know we have other principals to introduce, but I could not be more excited. I want to thank Ms. Blevins, her entire administrative team. Andrea often says we want all arrows pointing in the same direction. And I look at this great group of administrators, and I look at the entire Highland Pride staff that showed up tonight, kind of my former stomping grounds. And we really win with people. You've said that before, and I want to thank the board for this opportunity. As a first-generation college student in the Hamilton City Schools, I promised Ms. Eichenberger I wouldn't get emotional, but I tend to do that. I owe everything that I've accomplished to this district, and I look at this as a passion and a mission for me more so than anything. We've been blessed to have great staff. In fact, I think Highland has trained up some great administrators as a staff, but the people that we win with are incredible. We have so many students in our buildings and so many families that come in that count on us to provide a world-class education. And that's what we intend to do. So we're going to launch our Big Blue Ignite mission at Hamilton High School and continue the great work that we've done at the freshman campus. And I couldn't be more excited for Mr. Funston to take that position and continue the work that we've done there. But big things are in store for the Big Blue. Again, this is a mission of mine. I could not be more proud of my assistant principal. This is really a great moment for me. Ms. Eichenberger is the one that does all the work behind the scenes. I have crazy ideas. I have big vision for what we need to accomplish as a district with career pathways, with credit acquisition, with work in the community. And it's people like Ms. Eichenberger who have done the work to make that happen. So again, thank you so much. I could be up here all day, but together, positively impacting learning in life is what we're all about. And it's what we continue to embody as a district. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce the new principal at Hamilton High freshman campus, Mr. Jesse Funston.
Thank you. First and foremost, Ms. Blevins, Mr. Wright, I appreciate the confidence you've shown in me to take over the lead at the freshman building. Board, you as well, and voting me to take the position. Mr. Smallwood mentioned it coming up, but I'm filling big shoes over at the freshman campus. His team, along with Ms. Eichenberger and Mr. Isgro, have done a lot of work over the past handful of years, just really, I think, building momentum on that campus. I've spent the last 5 years at main campus really working to create pathways and stop trying to fit kids into a mold and try to structure our system so that we're meeting kids where they're at and leading them into pathways that ignite them into what they want to do in lives. Plan is to continue that, really try to bridge the two campuses. So, working over the next few years with Mr. Smallwood to really set kids off, on pathways to success. And here in about 2 weeks, you'll see some of the successes that we've had in main campus that, I really hope to see what Ty does with here over the next few years to have that continue. So once again, thank you guys, and I'm blessed and excited for this opportunity.
Next, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Megan Eichenberger, the new principal at Wilson Middle School.
Sorry, I'm a little shorter. So I just cannot express to you guys how grateful I am. I really have been mentored in this district, and it's been amazing to me. I was a teacher at the high school, and actually Jesse Weisbro helped mentor me to take a leap to go into an admin program. And I thought, I don't know if I'll ever do that. And then I did, and I loved it. And now it's just shown me that you guys have the confidence in me, and I've been mentored by Mr. Smallwood, and now I feel confident that I can do this. And I'm so excited to go to Wilson. That staff, I got to go there this morning and meet with them again, and they're ready. They love their building there. Everyone just talks so highly about their colleagues and how much, and I can't wait to go to that building. Honestly, they're just a great group of people, and I am excited to work with them. Middle school is a fun age. It's before you get to the credits, I'm excited. The energy there is so much higher. By the time they were teenagers, they're a little bit sleepy. I got there this morning, I was like, they're so awake. It's like, they're so excited, honestly. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I'm very excited to work with that team. So I appreciate all of your vote of confidence to me, and I look forward to it. Thanks.
Megan, as a middle school educator, I will tell you it takes a certain type of person to see the beauty in a middle schooler. Not crazy, Mr. Wright.
No, I go with Mr. Wright.
Yes.
You got to be a little bit crazy to.
The next principal that I'd like to introduce is already a principal in our district, but is making a switch to go back home, if you will. I'd like to introduce Mr. Ryan Britton, the new principal at Ridgeway Elementary.
Well, good evening. Thank you, Mrs. Blevins, Mr. Wright, Mr. Frazier, and to the board. The last 4 years have been transformative in my career. Our Highland team, Mrs. Lawson, who I am so excited to continue to lead at Highland. Thank you for that opportunity 4 years ago where I was able to spread my wings as a leader and learn what being a principal is all about. This is a very unique opportunity. Kathy Wagenfield has been at Ridgeway Elementary School the last 16 years. She actually was my camp counselor director. And when I was a summer camp counselor, I was kind of mentored through, hey, come to Hamilton. You know, I was a Cleveland kid. I was going to go back to Cleveland. And I was lucky enough to student teach at Ridgeway Elementary School with the wonderful Connie Mittermeier. And I was so taken back by how wonderful this district is that I told my parents, it was an uncomfortable conversation, but I'm moving to Hamilton and I believe in what's going on. And now they are the biggest cheerleaders down here in Hamilton. So I got to teach for 7 years as a kindergarten teacher. I was an AP there for 4 years, so to be able to have the opportunity to go back home, I cannot thank you enough. I have mixed emotions because I am so sad to leave my Highland team. They are an absolutely incredible staff, but I know under Mrs. Lawson's leadership, they'll continue to grow and excel, and I am so ready to dig in at Ridgeway and continue to grow. So thank you so much for that opportunity. I can't wait. It's going to be wonderful. Thank you.
Our last but certainly not least principal, I think this is the first time I'm going to say this publicly. I do think it's important to note that the Highland staff showed up in full force tonight. The entire room was filled earlier for this candidate, and so it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Miss Ellie Lawson as the new principal at Highland Elementary.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited. I am so thankful for this opportunity. I am very grateful for your all's trust in me. I have learned so much from Ryan, working with him the past 3 years, and so much from the Highland staff. They've helped me grow, and I really feel like I'm ready for this next big step. And I can't wait to share with you guys all the exciting things at Highland next year. So thank you.
Well, I apologize for the detour, but if you look, it's hard not to celebrate the talent and the passion that's in this room. So I thank you for letting me hijack a little bit on the board to recognize these.
Well, Mrs. Blevins, first of all, I want to say I think it's absolutely wonderful that you have these young administrators here and talking briefly about their new positions. And a year and a half ago, before I was elected to the board, I really only knew one of these 5 young people here. But in the last year and a half, I think I've met all of them, and I would say we have a good relationship. So I don't want to speak for my fellow board members, even though I probably am speaking for my fellow board members. I want you to know without question, I support you completely. I view a very large part of my job being to equip you with what you need to be successful for our students and for your staff also. So I know there's a chain of command that you have to follow, but I hope that our relationship is such that you can talk with me at any time about anything. And anything that I can do to help you, I will, because I view that as, like I said, a very large part of my job. So I wish you nothing but success in what you do, and good luck.
Again, congratulations to everybody. It's so exciting to see you guys moving and going back home and moving up in those respective positions. So, and you know, you guys are already familiar with the district, so just continuing on to do just great things. You already, you know, are already moving in greatness. So just to even see, so I'm saying is I'm looking forward to all the presentations next year in your new roles. It's gonna be super cool. So again, congratulations and thank you so much for saying yes.
Just following up on what Dr. Copa said, I got to meet all of you on my building visits. Absolutely enjoyed it. Really didn't know Ellie until and I came out and I grabbed Andrea and I said, she's impressive. I mean, she really blew me away with how impressive. Each of you did. And that came up in our meetings when we talked about you as a candidate and how, you know, we're lucky to have you in the district and have such fine candidates. Everyone applied was great candidates, but the ones that we have now, I'm just so excited. I think we're headed in the right direction and things are going to be great. So thank you.
Well, I want to echo, I guess we're all having to speak. So I just want to echo what they were saying, but I think it is a testament, I've been around a while, and seen people moving up in our district, having the training, the support that they need to move into these positions to make sure you're successful and our school's successful. And I don't want to speak badly about the past, but that is a hallmark for our district right now, having that ability. Because when we talk, we say, do we really have to go outside? No, we've got leadership right here. Why go outside when we have people that are trained, that know what they're doing, that are going to excel at their jobs? And it's not like, oh, we have to do homegrown because they're they're townies or whatever. You guys will hold up against anybody we brought in for interviews. And I want to thank you for that, because I know it's a journey, but I just want to thank our leadership and Mr. Holbrook too for that leadership to provide you the leadership skills that you need to be successful. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. Thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Human Resources B.
Yes, Human Resources B. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. So we'll I'll accept the motion for personnel item B.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Fraser, you can call the roll, please.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Dr. Copas?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
And next, I'll accept the motion for our consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I do have a point of discussion, and Mr. Fraser and I spoke briefly about this earlier, and this is what I referenced next door just quickly. Mrs. Blevins alluded to this, but I think let's talk about this because this is such a great deal for our district. Mr. Fraser, do you mind elaborating just a little bit on the technology there and the agreement, and I'm going to pull it, the Forward Edge technology quote and how that's funded?
Absolutely. So, and Ms. Blevins touched on this briefly. We participate in a program called E-Rate, and depending on the nature of the items that we are buying, we get a rebate back from E-Rate to the tune of 85% for certain items, and I believe it's 90 or 95% for other items. And so Mr. Mundy and his group and the group that we have from Forward Edge, they work hard to make sure that we're maximizing those dollars for those rebates. And just like on the board agenda tonight, we're buying something that would normally cost the district well north of $200,000, and it's going to cost us about $30,000 after rebate. So it's a very fantastic program, and I know Mr. Mundy works extremely hard to make sure that we're utilizing those dollars.
Yeah, my compliments to Mr. Mundy. It's amazing what he's able to do. Mr. Wright, Mrs. Blevins, I need you, or Mr. Sprague or anyone, I need you to teach me something. As I read through this, it says after this work is completed, there'll still be 2 of our facilities that will still need the new iCloud, our iCloud wireless controller, the Board of Education, and then one of our facilities referred to as SOF.
So SOF, it's our service operations facility. So it's our bus garage,
Gotcha.
maintenance, where many of our staff are housed down there.
Okay, I did not know what that meant.
I learned something too, Joe. I did too. I saw that. I'm gonna.
It's all the acronyms in education.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Frazier.
A motion?
Yeah, we already did.
Oh, yep, you can call the roll.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Dr. Kopus?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
All righty, well, next we have our adjournment. I will accept the motion to adjourn. And our next meeting will be on March 27th here at 533 Dayton Street.
I move that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Fraser?
Dr. Kopus?
Yes.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes. I don't know, I was having so much fun.